The year 2000 brought many things to the UK. In London, the Millennium Dome was opened by the Queen. On our screens, Billy Elliot, The Weakest Link and Big Brother came along for the first time. And in music, David Bowie played his last ever Glastonbury appearance at the same time that Coldplay released their debut album. And amongst all of these exciting things, in England and Wales, the farming of fur from animals was also banned, with Northern Ireland and Scotland following on 2 years later. Why then, 25 years later, can I walk into a shop like this in the UK and buy clothes made from animal fur? Welcome back to Animal Rights Explained, guys. In this episode, we're going to delve into the complicated and controversial history of the fur trade in the UK, and we're going to finish with one step that you can take to help animal advocates get a new bill through Parliament to stop the fur trade in the UK once and for all. But first, let's talk about the fur trade. The fur trade has come a long way since ancient times when our ancestors wore the fur, which they took from animals which they killed on hunts in the wild. And in 2025, it's a complicated global industry based on intensive farming of animals which should really be in the wild. Reports by Born Free show that over 85% of fur used in the fashion industry comes from intensive fur farming, and over 50% of fur farms are found in Europe alone. Investigative reports by organisations such as Four Paws show that on these fur farms, over 100 million animals such as mink, raccoon dogs, foxes and rabbits, which should be living in the wild, instead die globally every year to produce the fur used by the fashion industry. The animals kept on these farms are largely held in small, barren wire cages, which cause them unimaginable amounts of distress and suffering for the years which they're held on those farms. This is in addition to the unsanitary conditions whilst they're kept on such farms, as the animals never leave the cages for their lives until they're killed to produce fur. In addition to causing animal suffering, these fur farms pose a massive risk to human health. To take everyone back to the COVID years for a second, sorry about this, I know that felt like a completely different universe, but SARS-CoV-2, which causes COVID-19, ripped through fur farms all across Europe, which caused some countries to take drastic action. For example, in Denmark, they had no choice but to cull the entire population of mink kept on fur farms, which totaled 17 million animals being killed. And it's not just global pandemics which these fur farms can contribute to, but they can also cause local environmental and health issues too, with all the waste which these farms generate and all the chemicals which are used to produce fur as well, leaking into the local environment as the present infrastructure just cannot take the amount of waste and chemicals produced. This doesn't mean, however, that the remaining 15% of fur used by the fashion industry is produced in a humane way, as this fur tends to come from a practice called as fur trapping of wild animals, largely in North America. Fur trapping uses leg-hold traps, conibear traps and snares to capture wild animals to then allow humans to harvest them for their fur. And all of these types of traps have been shown to cause immense suffering to animals and also to be indiscriminate into which animals they actually take, so the animals which are actually the target of fur trackers end up getting stuck in these traps as well. Okay, so we've talked about all the problems caused by the fur trade. What does the law in the UK say about it? Well, as we open this video, the Fur Farming Prohibition Act 2000 effectively outlawed the practice of fur farming in the UK. This is because it makes it a criminal offence for a person to keep an animal solely or primarily for the slaughter for the value of their fur or to breed them for their fur. That's great, right? The UK leads the charge against the global fur farming industry and gets a pat on the back. The problem is, even if you ban the farming of fur, you can still import it and sell it and advertise it and trade it around unless you have further laws preventing this. Therefore, as fur remains legal in the UK, essentially what we're doing is outsourcing all of the problems and all the cruelty caused by fur farming and by fur trapping to other countries. And government figures from 2022 show that we import over £42 million worth of fur every year in the UK. Whilst the law bans fur farming, it doesn't prevent the sale or importation of fur products. And this basically means that I can walk into a shop such as Louis Vuitton and go in there and buy very expensive pieces of clothing and also accessories made out of fur. Louis Vuitton aren't the only brand to continue selling fur in the UK, however. And in London alone, I can walk into any of Harrods, Max Mara or Roberto Cavalli alongside other brands like Dior and buy fur products. We've already talked about the ethical and human health reasons why the fur traders are wrong, and to their credit, certain stakeholders in the fashion industry are being trailblazers and leading the charge against fur. Some brands brands like Stella McCartney and Kate Spade have never used fur in any of the products which they make, whilst other brands like Vivienne Westwood and Ralph Lauren have been fur-free for over a decade now. Great to see the fashion industry coming together against fur. And some countries, states and cities have gone further than the fashion industry's own self-regulation and have banned fur of their own fruition. Cities and regions such as California State, Los Angeles, San Francisco, West Hollywood, Minneapolis, New York, Hawaii and Rhode Island have also locally banned or are moving towards regional bans of the fur trade in their areas. All of these areas have led the charge in banning the fur trade, and the UK itself even has some precedent on restricting the trade of certain fur products. This is because when the UK was still a member of the European Union, wow, remember those days, right? An EU-wide rule was passed to prevent the importation of any products taken from seals, walruses or sea lions, and that would include their fur pelts and also fashion items made from the fur of these animals. Despite no longer sadly being a member of the European Union, the UK continues to honour this rule, meaning that you can't import the fur taken from any of these animals into the UK. This shows that the UK government is ready to prevent the trade and importation of certain fur products, and with a new law proposed by Ruth Jones MP, hopefully this is going to apply to the entire fur trade. This is because Ruth Jones MP is sponsoring the Fur Import and Sale Private Members Bill, which is currently making its way through Parliament. The law is at still a really early stage and we don't even have the proposed text of the new law yet. However, the stated title is to do what it says on the tin, which is to ban and outlaw the importation and the sale of fur in the United Kingdom. This law represents a huge chance for the UK to take a giant leap forward in its animal welfare credentials and actually deliver on its promises and statements that the UK is world leading on animal welfare and animal rights. And this is where you come in, or at least your Member of Parliament does. The proposed law is due for its second reading on the 13th of June on this year. And at the second reading, MPs have a debate about the principles of the bill and a vote is taking place at whether the bill should pass to the next stage in the parliamentary procedure and hopefully eventually become law, or instead be rejected. Each MP has one vote in this kind of event, and we need to make sure that enough animal advocates are there to make sure that the bill gets enough support to pass that vote and to continue down the parliamentary line and hopefully become proper law. The main way that you can help support this is by writing to your local MP and encouraging them to attend the debate and vote in favour of the prohibition. To help you do this, what we've done is write a template letter or email, and we've left a link for this down in the description below. All you need to do is take the wording of that letter or email, however you want to send it to your MP, have a read of it, make sure you're happy. If you want to change anything, please feel free to, and then send it off to them. Studies show that over 77% of the UK public are in favour of a prohibition on the fur trade in the UK. So what these letters are doing is to let your local MP know that that public support is there and that they need to get along to that debate and support the advancement of that prohibition. Like I said, link to this in the description down below. It's on a Google Docs. You should be able to access it, take it away and do what you need to do with it. That call to action brings this video to an end for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, please do hit like down below. Really helps us with that algorithm to get more engagement so more people can learn about animal rights issues such as this. Leave a comment down below, like I said, with your thoughts. And if you want more content like this, don't forget to subscribe to Animal Rights Explained on YouTube and follow us on social media too. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.